Welcome back, guys. I was doing a little project here, for myself of where I'm going to do some 3D modeling. And I thought that maybe you guys might kind of see what's involved in drawing up something here. Imagine this to be a U-shaped bracket. It's going to be bolted together. It's be made up of 3 pieces. We'll assemble it. We'll put some bolts in it. And we'll just see how it goes. Now, it's not going to be like, a step-by-step. Well, I mean, you will see everything step-by-step, but I'm going to try to get through the video, just kind of give you a quick glimpse of what's involved in drawing something up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a part file here. So I'm going to create a part, and you can, of course, you can draw it in English or you can draw it in metric. In this case, I'm going to default to just drawing it up in the imperial system, which is going to be in English. So right now I'm in the part file. So all 3D models, they start with a 2D sketch. So up here in the top left corner, I'm going to click on that. And you can see that we're presented with these here planes. One's a XY plane, here's a YZ plane, and this is a XZ plane. And of course we have the 3 axes X, Y, and Z. Might be a little hard to see, but they're running right in the center. And these will not move. The planes will not move and the axis will not move. So I'm just going to draw on the XY plane. And now you see that we have this here running across is the X-axis. Here's our Y-axis. And right here is where the center point is, to where all of these planes intersect along with the axis X, Y, and Z. Also, if you look down here in the lower left of the graphics window, you can see a representation that this here, see horizontally, as I mentioned, is the X. Y is running up and down vertically, and the Z axis, which is the blue, is going in and out towards us. Imagine it's coming out of the screen or going into the screen. Alright, so we was going to draw that base plates up. So let's start off with a rectangle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right to the center point to where all of these things intersect, as I mentioned. So you see it turns green. So I'm just going to move the mouse out and let's, I don't know, let's make it 6 inches long, 3 inches high. So there's our rectangle. Alright, so we can move the dimensions around. I'll just get them off of the lines here for representing the X and Y axis. Now we're through with the sketch. So let's go ahead, we'll finish the sketch up there. Now we want to put some thickness on it. So we're going to extrude it. Now we can extrude it this direction, that direction, across the plane, or we can do it in both directions. We can give this one dimension and we can give this back half another dimension. What I like to do is always just go symmetric. Okay, now it wants to know how thick do we want it. Let's make it, let's say, a 1/2 inch thick. So there is our plate. Okay, so we got a plate. Of course, we don't have any holes in it right yet. So now let's say we're going to give this here plate a type of material. So we'll click up to here. I don't know, let's make it stainless steel. So there's stainless steel, and right now the type that is set for is semi-polished, and we can make that different things. I mean, we can say sky blue medium, or whatever we want. So in fact, let's just keep it at that. All right, sky blue medium, but it's still defined as a stainless steel material here. All right, so now we need to put some holes in this thing. Say four holes in the corner, 1/4 inch off from each end. So I click on this face, I come down to here, I'm going to create another sketch. Okay, so now let's go to this here point, and I'm just going to click the points to where I want these holes to be. Okay, in fact, it's pretty hard to see that, so let's let me just back up. Let's back up. Let's just get out of this. Okay, so we're back to where we at on our semi-polished. Alright, so I'm going to create the sketch again. Let's go back and put our points in. Yeah, so now you can see it. You can see the points a little bit better now. So I'm just clicking the points, and I'm not even, I want them to be in the corners, but we're going to define that now. So up in here, it's called a constraint. So I can constrain this here geometry that I just did with these here points. I can make them, lock them horizontally, lock them vertical, lock them symmetrically across the X and the Y axis. Alright, so to start with, let's do it horizontal. So here's a horizontal constraint. So if I click on this here crosshair and I click on that, I've just told it that I want those to always be horizontal. So I'm going to do the same down here. Okay. Now just to prove that these will be horizontal, if you look, you notice that when I move one, the other one is moving because I told it to be horizontal. Now let's tell it to be vertical. I want that one to be vertical with this one. I want this one to be vertical with that one. So now they're locked together horizontally and vertically. Now if I move, you can see that these here two are moving, but you notice it'd be nice that if it was, when I move it, it would be symmetric, say across the x-axis, which is just down here, and then it'd also be symmetric, you know, with the y-axis as far as these moving with it. Alright, so to do that, I'm going to project some geometry. So I'm going all the way over here to my browser, and I'm going to project or copy the x-axis and the y-axis. So now you can see I got two green lines in here. So now I'm going to take them, and since I'm going to pretty much use them as for construction lines, I'm going to convert these lines into construction lines by coming up to here. So I'm going to click on that one, click on the X, and now these two lines are dashed, as you see. Now let's take, and I'm going to make this one and this one symmetric across the y-axis, and I want this one and this one to be symmetric across the y. Now let's do it again, but this time let's do it for the x-axis, and then we'll come over here, do them two. Now watch the four crosshairs. I'm going to move one, but watch how they move. If you notice, they all move together and they're symmetric, and everything is symmetric. Now all I have to do is come back. Now I'm going to put a dimension. In the X, it's going to be, I think we said, 1/4 inch, and from here down to here, let's make him 1/4 inch. Now I don't need to do the others because they're already set at 1/4 inch because of that being set up symmetrically like I did, being horizontal, vertical, and also to have that symmetry. This one right here being symmetric. Alright, so we're through with the sketch. Now let's put some holes in it. So I'm going to come up here to the hole command, and if you notice, it automatically found those crosshairs. But let's make these a counter bore. So we're going to make this a counter bore, and let's see, it's going to be a clearance hole for a 1/4 inch bolt, and the type of bolt is going to be a socket head cap screw. There's the size, 1/4, and this here's all automatically, it takes care of everything here. But I want this to go all the way through the plate, so I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to say go through the whole plate. Now this one here is done. So we're done with this here plate. Now let's go ahead and save that one. Now what I typically like to do is I like to create a folder so I can put all my individual parts in there. Now this is going to be the base plate, so let's call him base plate, and let's save it. Alright, so we need the two vertical uprights. So all we need to do is make one because the other one is going to be the same. So let's go back. Let's make our part file again. Now let's go create a sketch. Click on the XY plane. And now we have said 3 inches. I don't know. Let's make it 5 inches this time. Okay. Let's move our little dimensions around. Okay, that looks good. Let's finish up the sketch. We're going to extrude it, and let's see, we're going to do symmetric, and this time we also make it a 1/2 inch. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead, just go ahead and put the holes down in here. These will be threaded holes that go in on the bottom. So I'm going to create a sketch. I'm going to go ahead and get my points again, put them there, and this time I want it to be horizontal. I want this to be horizontal with this here point of where all the axes in the planes intersect, because remember, that never moves. So that to this one, and now we're done. Okay, so now what we need to do is just tell it how far over, and let's make him 1/4 inch, and let's go over here, we'll make this one 1/4 inch, and we're done. Now let's go back. Let's put a hole command in there, And this time we want it to be threaded. So we can see that we have a 1/4 inch size. Designation is going to be a 1/4 20. But this time I don't want it to go all the way through the whole entire part, as you see. So I wanted to tell it to go down through a certain distance. So here's our distance up here, 1/4 inch. Okay, that sounds all right. Let's go for that. So now let's go back and let's tell it that we're going to be making this a stainless steel part, which is right there. We'll leave it as a semi-polish. Now we're going to save this, and we'll call him vertical, let's just say vertical upright, and then we'll save them. Alright, so we're done. So we got 2 pieces that we can work with. Now we need to take these pieces and put them together. So now we're going to create this file, which is a assembly file. Basically, this is where you take all your parts and you bolting everything together. Alright, first piece I want to put in is I'll bring in the base plate. Okay. And we'll place him grounded at the origin. So he's right there at the origin, being where all these here axes and these planes intersect. Okay, that looks pretty good. Well, let's take him and rotate him around. Maybe we'll see the back side. Now let's go ahead and get this other one in here. This is going to be our vertical upright. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Let's just drop them in there. So remember our threaded holes are down here. And if you want to, see, we can rotate it around. So there we go. So now I need to take this piece right here, these 2 holes, they need to join up to these 2 holes here. Okay? Now, so what we'll do is we're going to use another function here. It's called a constraint. Now I'm going to use, there's all different types of constraints, but the one I'm going to use is called an insert constraint. So if you notice, you see the dashed line, it found the center of that hole and also that part right there, that round circle for the hole. So I'm going to tell it to go right to there. You notice it found the center of the hole, that circle. I click on it and it found and it locked it up. Now if we take this, you notice we can rotate it around. It is locked to that hole. So now all I have to do is tell it to lock it to the other hole. So now I'll go back, hit the constraint command, and come in here, hit that one, move around, hit that one, it locked it, and there we are. So we're done. Now let's get that other one in there. In fact, we don't need to pull it in again because we already have it over here in the browser, over here in the history tree. So I can take it, there's a vertical upright, so I can just take and drag it in and it'll make a copy. So now let's go back, do the same thing, and we will get that, rotate it around, hit it right there, and now I'm going to take it, pull it out so I can see the holes. Come back, hit a constraint there and there. So now everything is locked up on this thing, right? So I cannot move anything. Now if I come over here, you see the cube over here. Now let's say that we're looking at it just like we are, and we want to say this is actually our front view. So I'm going to redefine this cube and say, hey, there's your front. And then if you notice, it flipped up here. Now if I click here, I can see the top view. I can go back to the front. I can click over here. I can see the left view. Over here, back to front. Over there, there's the front. I mean the right. And if I want to see the top, and there's the top. And I can also flip it on around, and I can see the bottom. Alright, now we need to get some bolts in this thing. We need some socket head bolts. So let's come over here to the top left of the ribbon, go to place from content center, and let's see. Hey, that looks pretty good. Alright, okay. So I'm going to just drop it down, and now I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a 1/4 inch, and so we got a plate that's a 1/2 inch thick. We got a 1/2 inch. Let's say, I don't know, let's just say that. And this here is UNC. I'm going to say as custom. This way I can save it as a file. Now I'm going to make another folder, and this one I'm going to call, I'm going to just say fasteners. Okay. Now I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to say socket head bolt. Quarter, let's see, 1/4 20 by what did I say it was? 3/4 inch. Yep, 3/4 inch. Okay, so there's my bolt. So I drop it down. Now I'm going to take the bolt, rotate it around a little bit. Okay, and let's go in here. We're going to do the same exact constraint. We're going to use the insert, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to say there you are, and I want you to come and lock up and get right there on that. So it found it. Okay, now that I have that one bolt, I have it over in my browser, so I'm going to just drag it out. And let's go ahead and we'll drag another one out. We'll drag another one out. So now let me just go ahead. I'm going to just rotate this around, and we're going to rotate that around, and we're going to rotate this one around. And now let's do the constraint here, and say go down to here, and let's go down to here, and finally there. Okay, now let's say I'm looking at these bolts, and I just want to make sure everything looks good. So I'm right here, I'm looking at it, and I want to look at these bolts in here. So let's change our view. So we're going to go to view, and I'm going to come down to wireframe. So you can see there's the end of my bolt. This is the end of my tap toe. So if I wanted to, I could get a little bit longer bolt, say probably 1/8 of an inch. Okay. You can also look at it in other different representations. Let's say I wanted to look at it shaded, but I wanted to see the hidden lines. Or let's say I wanted to look at it as a wireframe with the hidden lines. Okay. So this way you can see it looking like that. Alright, let's say then you also have the other ways here to look at it. What I normally draw in is just shaded with edges. Now that we have it drawn up, now let's take, this is where you come in when you want to do some presentations. Let's say I'm going to get it something like that. Let's get it right, maybe about like that, right? I don't know. Yeah, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to maybe like that. Now, so what we're going to do now is we're going to turn the shadows on. We're going to turn the reflections on. This is orthographic mode and what we're viewing as. So when you're looking at stuff, you're normally looking at in a perspective mode. You know, like when you're looking at railroad tracks, you know how they look like they're kind of coming together way on down the road. So that's kind of the illusion we're having right now. Now the visual style, let's go for realistic, and then we're going to turn ray tracing on. So the idea here is that it's going to kind of put some lighting in there, try to give us a photorealistic image here. Now this is just on the very low, but it'll give you an idea, you know, as far as the picture quality. Now the higher you go up, so there's other ones in here. If you look, if I look right here, you see I got low, which is the lowest, and if I go to draft, takes a little bit longer, which gets a little finer, crisper image on that. And then if I went to high, well, we're probably talking about, you know, quite a few hours here. So anyway, that's about it, guys. Just a quick view just on 3D modeling, just to give you an idea kind of what you can do with stuff, you know. So anyway, like I said, I was drawing up a project here, so I thought maybe I'll just bring you guys along so you guys can see what's going on too. You guys take care, and I hope you enjoyed the video.